Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. My name is Megan Balding, and I'm with the USC Viterbi School of Engineering, and it's my pleasure to introduce Professor Azad Madni, who will be joining us today to speak about systems architecting and engineering here at the Viterbi School. So before we get started with the presentation, I do want to just go over a couple of quick housekeeping items. The first is to let all of you attending the session today know that we will be sending out a copy of the slides after the presentation. Within the next 2 or 3 business days, you'll receive a follow-up email with a link to this slide presentation. So there's a lot of great information within the presentation itself, so don't feel like you have to take notes throughout the session. We will be sending you these slides. Additionally, during the information session, we highly encourage you to ask questions. We will have a formal Q&A at the end of the information session where we'll ask most of the questions that you send over. But my colleague, Erin Tanaka, is also on the webinar today to moderate those questions as we go through the session. So if anything happens to pop up while you're listening in on the School of Engineering overview or specifically to systems architecting and engineering, please do send over your questions using the Q&A panel. You'll select a recipient from the Ask drop-down box and click Send. If you select in the Q&A panel the entire audience, then we'll be able to receive that directly. So today's program will provide a quick introduction of the University of Southern California and the Viterbi School of Engineering, but then we'll quickly get into our graduate programs in systems architecting and engineering, and that's where Professor Madni will discuss the programs and a little bit more about systems architecting and engineering specifically here at the Viterbi School, as well as all of the programs within that area as well. We'll quickly talk about Den at Viterbi, which is our online delivery method for those of you that might be working full-time or working and interested in pursuing a program online. And then we'll get into the tuition and fee overview, followed by the Q&A section of this presentation. For those of you that may not be familiar with the University of Southern California, we provided some quick images from the campus. We are the oldest private university in the Western United States. We were founded in 1880. We currently have about 44,000 students and 4,190 full-time faculty. We have a diverse student population with students coming from all over the world, over 100 countries in all 50 states. And the campus itself is located in Los Angeles. In fact, we're just about a couple miles south of downtown Los Angeles, which provides us with a great location to be close to not only downtown Los Angeles and everything that LA has to offer, but of course the greater California area with the biotech research that's going on down in San Diego, of course Silicon Valley, and the growing Silicon Beach that's happening right here in the beach areas of Los Angeles. The Viterbi School of Engineering consists of 8 academic departments. Our tenure-track faculty, we have 185 tenure-track faculty. Over 20 have received the are members of the National Academy of Engineering, and over 60 have received the National Science Foundation Career, National, and Presidential Young Investigator Awards. We have over 65,000 engineering alumni. These are individuals specific to the engineering school. And our student population consists of 2,700 undergraduates and 5,600 graduate students. As far as the research that's going on here at the Viterbi School, we are considered a leader in funded research, both within the university as well as within the nation at large. We have over 45 research centers housed within the School of Engineering alone and over $185 million in research expenditures annually. The following are some quick updates as far as our rankings. According to U.S. News & World Report, we are consistently ranked a top graduate engineering program overall. Additionally, within our online sphere, the Viterbi School is ranked the #1 online graduate engineering program and the #1 online computer science program overall, as well as specifically for veterans. far as the engineering school here at USC, we do have a very strong international reputation for excellence. A lot of that does have to do with our amazing faculty and the research that they pursue here within the Viterbi School. I mentioned our Trojan Family Network. This is our network of alumni, as I mentioned, over 65,000 engineers that are located throughout the world. So whether you're looking, once you graduate, for opportunities to network professionally, or if you find yourself moving to a new area and are looking for ways to connect with individuals, the Trojan family really does provide you with that sense of community and ability to network beyond your local area. As far as our unique engineering programs, of course, we have programs that are on campus, but within the master's level as well, we have our online delivery, and continuing education provides programs that are online and on-site. We offer our master's, PhD, and bachelor's programs, graduate certificates, and a graduate certificate is about half the units of a master's degree. So we will be getting into a few of our graduate certificate offerings that relate to systems architecting and engineering shortly. We also offer short courses and custom programs within our executive education sphere. I mentioned the Viterbi School is a leader in funded research. The Viterbi School itself has a number of highly interdisciplinary research environment. We list just a few of the many research centers that are housed here within the Viterbi School. If you're interested in learning more, I encourage you to visit our website, viterbischool.usc.edu, and you can learn more about our research areas and areas such as robotics, software engineering, sensor networks, vision sciences, automated construction, and photonics. We do have a number of industrial partnerships and collaborations, which I think provides itself to a really great environment being located right here in Los Angeles. It really opens up our ability to connect not only with other universities, but also our industrial partnerships as well. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce Professor Madni. Professor Madni is the Executive Director of the Systems Architecting and Engineering Program here at the Viterbi School. He's a professor in our Astronautical Engineering Department. He's also the 2014 INCOSE Lifetime Achievement Award winner. In 2011, he also received the INCOSE Pioneer Award. He is a fellow in many professional organizations, AAAS, AIAA, IEEE, INCOSE, IETE, and SDPS. And specifically to our presentation today, he teaches a number of our courses in systems architecting and engineering, which we'll be discussing in more detail throughout the presentation. So Professor Madni, thank you so much for joining us today and speaking to systems architecting and engineering.
Thank you, Megan. Welcome to all of you from far and wide and from the U.S. I'm pleased to be here to talk to you about an exciting multidisciplinary program that capitalizes on the growing convergence among disciplines and answers the educational needs of tomorrow. What makes this program unique are several factors. The few of the important ones are that the program was founded by Eb Recton, who in fact invented the term architecting. And his book on the subject is a required text most places. USC, the Viterbi School, and the SA program in particular has the only two INCOSE Pioneer Award winners, in myself and Eb Recton. We have several fellows of professional societies, American Association for the Advancement of Science, IEEE, International Council of Systems Engineering, and American Institute of Aeronautics and Astronautics, as well as Institute of Industrial and Systems Engineering. They've changed their name now. Yeah. We have very active participation in professional societies. We have vibrant local chapters. Our students are active in INCOSE, IEEE, AIAA, and CSER, which is the Conference on Systems Engineering Research. This is a conference that was co-founded by USC along with Stevens Institute, and now it is the #1 international conference in systems engineering. We also have the first INCOSE student division in Southern California. And we have, I have actually been the co-founder, and I'm currently the chair of the IEEE Systems Managed Cybernetics Technical Committee on Model-Based Systems Engineering. Those of you who are in systems engineering recognize the importance of model-based system engineering as a new way to conduct system engineering, which is much more systematic, much more rigorous, and I'll speak about that in a minute. The way we teach and the way we do research there's natural synergy between the two. Our research feeds into new material for the courses, so every semester when I teach a course, it has the benefit of new material, both from within my own research and research conducted elsewhere. And while we teach, of course, we uncover new areas for research, questions that are unanswered and that require certain, resolution. And so that essentially focuses our, research in that way. I personally employ a technique that I've used for the last 9 years, which works really well, which is basically teach using storytelling. Not just me, but the students tell their own stories. And we essentially play roles within stories and interact with each other and discover how things work and how things can be solved in a collaborative way where all of us are participants and all of us are playing specific roles in the story. That makes it for an exciting time. This is not an instructor push kind of a thing. It's really the instructor becomes a facilitator once he gets the story launched, if you will. Our adjunct faculty are second to none. They come from the top aerospace companies both in Southern California and elsewhere. We have faculty from Boeing and Northrop Grumman and Raytheon, Aerospace Corporation, and several of them from Jet Propulsion Lab. As you will see, we were recently named a top information system master's program in the country by Masters in Data Science. And you can actually go to this link that we show over here to get particulars about the SAE. We have our own newsletter now, and you can find out what's going on within the SAE program in terms of accolades and awards and new courses and such. And so this is a regular newsletter that comes out and gives you the latest and greatest, so this way you can keep up with what's going on in the program. A few things for the master's students that we are, like I said, we have a very active NCOSE LA USC Student Division, and this gives you a chance to network with other students and faculty. I make sure that faculty attend these meetings, and oftentimes we get representatives from industry who also attend that, and that makes it for a very exciting thing because you can actually look into job opportunities and such. We have a very active NCOSE LA chapter, and in fact I induct the officers every year in that chapter. It's a very well-run chapter, one of the most successful chapters at NCOSE, and again this gives you an opportunity to network with faculty and students and professionals from space, aerospace, medical devices, and energy sectors. Now we've also gotten the entertainment sector engaged with us. We had Walt Disney and Imagineering part of our conference on system engineering, and they were embracing this because they see it as a very vibrant area that's growing and that they absolutely need it. We also participate in the NCOSE LA mini conference and regional mini conference, and these are both held in Los Angeles, the first at Loyola Marymount most of the time, and the other at various venues. It represents Southern California, Arizona, and parts of the West. And this is another place where you can network with students, faculty, and professionals. Some of the skills that you find in demand, and this is something that might be of interest to you, and because we do cover every one of these skills in our courses, but systems architecting is very, very important now, not just in aerospace and defense, but also in healthcare and in entertainment and in manufacturing and such. System thinking is now becoming a widely demanded skill on the part of people. And remember, this is not just an engineering skill. It cuts across multiple disciplines. In fact, I'm creating a course in system thinking, which will be part of the SAE program, but it will be offered university-wide, hopefully. And that's something that we have in the works right now. The other area that's very important, and you can imagine why that is the area of integration, specifically integration of systems and system of systems. In a highly networked world, in fact, it's hyper-connected today, you need to understand how to integrate these systems that comprise heterogeneous devices and sensing and computing and communication mechanisms. There's also a few areas that I wanted to bring to your attention. One of them is the concept of operations prototyping. Many times when you are in an engineering community, when you're working for a company, they want to know what your idea is, how you're going to solve the problem. They don't want to wait for the whole solution to come about. So if you can essentially prototype the concept of how the system would work and have people essentially comment on that, you can reduce the acceptance risk and you can increase the interest and their, not just customer buy-in, but also your program manager buy-in. The next one is model-based system engineering, which, as you know, is an extremely hot topic all over the country. And in fact, there's an INCOSE journal coming out, a special issue on model-based system engineering, and I have a feature article in that, which will be the opening article for that special issue. The paper is written and accepted. It should be showing up in 2018. We also do a lot of exploration with different simulation methods and analysis techniques, and ranging from discrete event, agent-based, to system dynamics modeling. And we also focus on human-system integration, which has become a very, very important area, especially now with cyber-physical human systems. I mean, everything from self-driving cars to energy grids to, UAV swarms. These are all, human systems, but a specific kind of human system, which are called cyber-physical human systems. And so there's a whole course that we have prepared, and we're going to be offering this course in spring of 2018. I created the course, and it's going through the approval cycle even as we speak. The other area that we focus on quite a bit is resilience engineering. That's covered in our course called SA 546, and we cover that with respect to both systems and system of systems. And of course, the last two things are the old standbys that we have for completeness. One of them is agile development, and the other is lean operations. So the potential employers that have hired our students are obviously the aerospace companies, but also automotive companies like General Motors and Tesla. We have a lot of federally funded R&D centers and national labs that hire our people, and these include Aerospace Corporation, Jet Propulsion Lab, MITRE, and RAND Corporation. We also have medical devices companies and healthcare organizations that hire our students, master students, for example, Medtronics and Kaiser Permanente, the Veterans Administration, etc., as well as Amgen, a biotechnology company. The web companies that hire our students, include Google, Amazon, Facebook, and some startups as well. And when it comes to state and city organizations locally, Port of Los Angeles, as well as LA Department of Water and Power, hire our students on a regular basis. So the Systems Architecting Engineering program has multiple program offerings. Of course, our flagship offering is the Master of Science in Systems Architecting and Engineering. This is the flagship program in system engineering within the Viterbi School. We also have a graduate certificate in Systems Architecting and Engineering, and this cuts across courses from both Systems Architecting and Engineering as well as from Computer Science. We also have graduate certificates in Software Architecture and a graduate certificate in Network-Centric Systems that has been upgraded with cloud computing and system of systems concepts.
Great. I'm just going to jump in here really quick to note on the little icon here. We will be discussing what Done at Viterbi is a little bit later in the presentation today. But just as a note, all four of these offerings, of course, are available in the traditional on-campus delivery. In addition to that, though, we also offer 3 of these online via Done at Viterbi, which is a delivery method we'll be going into later in the presentation. Sorry to interrupt.
Sure, no, that's fine. So this is the Master of the Systems Architecting and Engineering, and here are some details of the program. You have to take 15 units of required courses, and the courses are identified right below that. And then you have elective courses, and you have 6 units of that. Technical management area and a general technical area. As you can see, the courses that I identified earlier are all enumerated here. The core courses are 560, or you could take 460 if in a bind. SA 541, which is System Engineering Theory and Practice, 542, which is Advanced Topics in Systems Engineering, and 549, which is the entry course, the course that you first come into when you enter the program. And then you have a choice of taking one of the following 2 programs, which is SA 547, which is Model-Based System Architecting and Engineering, or System Integration and Communication. It is our intent to make these courses both core courses in the very near future. And then you have a technical specialization area, and this is an important thing. So when people have gone through all of the systems courses, they have a choice now to specialize in the area. And you can specialize in aerospace, you can specialize in artificial intelligence, and machine learning, if you will. You can specialize in automation and control systems. You can specialize in the traditional area of signal processing and communication. And you have obviously cybersecurity, which is a pretty hot area right now. Engineering management continues to be an option that you can take. And of course, then you have the whole area of systems itself. In system architecting engineering, you can stay within here and take electives within system as your technical specialization. So this is a representative list. There can be many more. You can take courses in space. You can take courses in, if you will, in information assurance and things of that nature. And those all could be part of your technical specialization. As you can see, that's 9 units, which means 3 courses. There's some questions here.
Yeah. So one of the questions that we had come in just now is a question just in general about, as people are looking at different programs, different master's programs to pursue, this person specifically is looking at systems architecting and engineering as well as computer science.
Yes.
And so, are there advantages to pursuing a degree in systems over, let's say, a degree in computer science, or how would you define the differences when looking at the programs?
So there are systems architecting and engineering. Someone described that as a combination of engineering and business management for engineers. Okay, that's the best way to describe it. You get a combination of that. So if you have a desire to pursue a systems technical career versus a program management career, you have many more options if you started off with systems architecting and engineering. On the other hand, if you wanted to go into computer science is a pretty hot area as well, with machine learning and, pattern recognition and AI and a variety of courses. Then, of course, you're pursuing mostly a technical degree, and that's perfectly good. And for some people, it may make perfect sense. I would like to add, though, that in the systems architecting and engineering program, we do cover data analytics, machine learning, and things like that. And the examples that I use in the program are things like self-driving cars and multi-UAV swarms of unmanned aerial vehicles and things like that. So we cover those things. If your interest is to find a career in the aerospace world, I would definitely recommend systems architecting and engineering. If your interested is to go work for some of the web companies, for example, or some of the IT companies, then computer science would be a better option. I hope that answers your question. Great,
thank you, Professor Madni. And for anyone out there, please do continue to send over some questions. We will get back to those especially during our Q&A. So please do continue to send over questions, and we'll accumulate those and answer them in just a few minutes here when we get to the end of the presentation. So, Professor Madni, would you like me to go over the application?
Yeah, you can go through
Sure. Okay, so as far as the application criteria for the MS in Systems Architecting and Engineering, ultimately we do require an undergraduate degree in engineering, math, or hard science from a regionally accredited university. A minimum of 3 years of industrial experience is highly recommended. And generally, for a competitive applicant, we are looking at a cumulative undergraduate GPA of at least a 3.0 on a 4.0 scale. But again, that's not required. So I do encourage you, sometimes we have questions from individuals that say, well, I have everything else that you've asked for, but my GPA falls slightly below that 3.0. Definitely still apply. At that point in time, the department can do a thorough review of your application and all of your criteria cumulatively and make a decision based on all factors. Additionally, the GRE is required. It must be less than 5 years old. A resume or CV is also going to be required. 3 letters of recommendation and a statement of purpose will also need to be submitted. For any international applicants, the TOEFL will be required. One thing we do want to mention that is specific to the Master of Science in Systems Architecting and Engineering is there are 2 ways in which you may be able to waive the GRE requirements. The first way is by having an undergraduate degree in engineering with an overall GPA of 3.0 or higher on a 4.0 scale, plus either a master's degree in engineering or an MBA degree. The other option is as a limited student, and I'll be discussing later in the presentation what a limited student is and how you can become one. You can complete 4 defined courses, SAE 541, 542, and 549, and either SAE 560 or ISE 460. If you receive a grade of B or better in each of these courses, then you would also be able to qualify for the waiver. So something I'd like to mention here is that this GRE requirement is specific to Systems Architecting and Engineering. It does not apply to any other master's level programs. So with that said, we'll go into some of our graduate certificate programs.
We have another question. Do you consider computer science as engineering? Some schools do. Well, at USC, we have both computer science and computer engineering. However, in the systems world, I would say that system science exploits computer science to solve problems. So yes, I would consider computer science as an enabler of system science and engineering. And so in that sense, I would say that computer science is part of engineering from my point of view.
Great, thank you, Professor Madni. So this is a little bit about our graduate certificate in systems architecting and engineering, if you wouldn't mind discussing a little bit about how the graduate certificate works and how it differs from the master's program.
Yeah, so the graduate certificate, you have to take 5 of the following courses, and you can see the courses are most of the core courses in the master's program, you'll see that, but you have a choice of taking also some courses from industrial and systems engineering in that list. All the SAE prefix are all systems architecting and engineering courses that we have just gone over before with the master's program. The ISE courses are 3 basically. The one is engineering economy, which is a substitute for SAE 560 in case it was not scheduled in the semester that you wanted to take, which it always is. But if you happen to be in the ISE program, for example, then you could take that and it would satisfy an SAE requirement. There's ISE 515, which is engineering project management, which is taught in the industrial engineering side of the house, not the systems architecting and engineering, but we accept that as a course within the certificate. And then the final one is the management of engineering teams. And this is an important one, and I'm a big believer in engineering teams and teamwork, and I actually teach quite a bit of that. And I would say to you that a team of experts does not make an expert team. So what is it that an expert team has? How do you get to that point? And we discuss issues such as shared conceptual models and mutual predictability and mutual trust and things like that that are important factors, especially when you're working across geographies and across countries. It becomes a very, very important facet.
Professor Madni, why would someone do a graduate certificate as opposed to just going right into the Master of Science program?
So you would take a graduate certificate basically to hone your skills and become a more valuable to your organization. It takes a lot less time than a master's degree, and it gives you something along the way that can give you a promotion or contribute to a promotion. It also would give you some skills that you would need, and it would give you more versatility to work across different jobs, especially if you're in the world of aerospace or automotive or something of that nature. People get moved around quite a bit, and it would make you much more versatile to do that, and also the time commitment is a lot smaller.
Great. So the next slide just goes over a little bit of the application criteria again as it relates to the graduate certificate. I won't go over each of these items. Again, we will be sending, for those of you that may have missed the beginning of the presentation, we will be sending a copy of today's presentation to you by email. This information, again, is also available on the website as well. So the next graduate certificate to speak a little bit about is the graduate certificate in software architecture.
Yeah. So the software architecture certificate, and I would especially draw the attention of Mr. Aizaran Okamafe to this particular place, because you can see here 2 courses from systems architecting and engineering and 2 courses from computer science coexisting in perfect harmony and creating a valuable option. The reason we created the certificate is because there was a demand for this combination from a lot of our people. They wanted people to understand the whole concept of systems architecting and engineering so that they could understand how to formulate the problem, how to collect requirements, how to model systems, but they also needed some techniques from computer science and that would be rooted in software architectures and requirements engineering for the software side of the house. And so if you see here, the 2 most popular courses of SAE, systems architecting and engineering, are in the certificate, both systems architecting and model-based systems architecting and engineering. And then the 2 most popular courses in computer science, from the point of view of practitioners and people working in industry, are requirements engineering and software architecture. So by packaging this as a 4-pack, we offer you a certificate that has great appeal to a lot of the people in industry.
Again, here are the application criteria, also similar to the application criteria for our systems architecting as well. You do note for this program, you do need to have a substantial background in computing in order to pursue this degree. So the final graduate certificate to be discussed today is our certificate in network-centric systems.
Okay, so this certificate is being upgraded. It's being replaced by courses that, such as SA 546, which is Resilient Systems and System of Systems, Engineered Resilient System and System of Systems. And it has the networking aspect, but in addition to that, it has cloud computing, it has agent-based modeling, it has system of system integration and things of that nature. So I think it's becoming much more now, given the advances that we've had in the net-centric arena.
Great, exciting. Again, application requirements here as well. So in general, as far as the application deadlines.
There's another question
great.
here.
Our distributed systems covered in software architecture courses.
Yes, distributed systems are covered both in systems architecting and in computer science from different perspectives. When we cover distributed systems in systems architecting, it is more from a system of systems perspective, because you really have a whole bunch of systems distributed that are tied together, and they have to work together to be able to achieve an overall mission or achieve an overall business goal. When you address it from a computer science perspective, then the distributed system addresses issues of interoperability and integration, tight integration, loose integration, coupling and cohesion, and things of those factors. So when you put the two things together, you have the total picture.
Great, thank you, Professor. And just for any of you else that are interested in asking questions, the next few slides will be going over some application criteria and some general information on our Den at Viterbi offerings. We'll then be able to go right into our question and answer section. So please do continue to send over any questions, and my colleague Erin will be moderating those questions, sending them our way to ask in that Q&A. So as far as our application deadlines, I do want to draw your attention to these upcoming dates. For fall of 2018, this is to begin classes next August. The deadline to submit all required materials is January 17th. Please note, though, if you are interested in scholarship consideration as an on-campus student, the deadline is December 15th. If you're a Den at Viterbi student, there are also some scholarship opportunities, but that information is available, and the application for that is sent out at a later date. As far as the spring 2019, this is to start classes in January of 2019. That seems so far away, but I guess it's not. The deadline to submit all required materials will be September 15th, so you do have some more time to get all of your materials in by that deadline. Just as a quick note, if you are interested in applying as a Den at Viterbi applicant, we are in many cases able to provide a deadline extension. We do know that sometimes that our Den at Viterbi students are maybe slightly older, have been out of school for a while, and these deadlines come up out of nowhere. And so, you know, when you decide you want to pursue a master's degree, we want to work with you and make sure you can apply for the earliest available semester. So please do email us for more information on that. So we already kind of went over what do our alumni do and where do they work, so we'll skip that slide. The next few slides I'll just quickly go over is our delivery method options. We have two delivery methods for course participation. The first is as an on-campus student. Generally, that's a full-time student that's pursuing around 3 classes per semester and taking about 1.5 to 2 years to complete their degree. Our online students are taking around 1 to 2 classes per semester. Generally, they're working full-time, but they don't have to be. And because they are taking a reduced load because of work or life scheduling, it takes them about 2.5 to 3 years to complete their degree. As far as Den at Viterbi, again, this is our online delivery. This slide goes over a little bit of how it works. Den uses a state-of-the-art proprietary web-based delivery system that enables students from around the world to access classes live or on demand. As a Den student, the important thing to think about is that you are participating in the same classes as your on-campus counterparts. So when you register for a class, you are registering for the same class that is being taken right here on campus by on-campus students. You're participating in the same lecture and able to participate in highly interactive discussions with professors and peers. Homework, of course, is submitted electronically, and exams are done at proctored testing centers near your home or office. The following provides a quick overview of some of the similarities and differences between our Dennett Viterbi and on-campus students. Ultimately, you are submitting the same application, you're viewing the same course lectures, whether you're doing it online with interactivity or right here on USC's campus. You also have the opportunity to view the class online if you're a Dennett Viterbi student after the course has been completed for the day. Archived courses are available throughout the semester, but you do need to stay on top of your deadlines. It is the same schedule as your on-campus counterparts, so homework, exams are done at the same time. We've kind of reviewed a lot of this, but ultimately to complete your degree, you do need to complete the required number of units for your degree program and receive a 3.0 cumulative GPA or higher. And ultimately, upon completion of the program, you do receive the USC diploma, the same diploma, regardless of your course delivery. I think this picture helps to illustrate how the Dennett Viterbi delivery works and how truly integrated it is with the on-campus course. You can see in the background of this picture an on-campus class taking place. The faculty member is teaching at the front, and as a Dennett, this is actually taken from the perspective of a camera operator. So in each classroom, there is a live camera operator that's managing all the cameras, that's making sure everything that's going on within the classroom setting is provided to you as a distance student. This is just a quick snapshot of what the e-learning system looks like when you're viewing an archived course. So you can see what the video would look like. In addition to this, you can have a separate pull-up if there's a separate PowerPoint presentation. You can play, you can pause, rewind, use this as a review tool later on in the semester. All of that is available to you. And also to our on-campus students, if you're participating in a class that has a Dennett Viterbi section, you also will have access to the lecture videos to use as a review mechanism, before a midterm or final exam. Just another quick snapshot. And the last thing I just want to mention as far as how our Dennett Viterbi program works is the interactivity between Den students and our on-campus population. Just because you're pursuing the program remotely, whether it's, as a working professional here in Los Angeles that just can't make it through the traffic to campus, or, halfway around the world, that doesn't mean that you won't be taking part in group projects and having to interact with your on-campus counterparts. You can call during office hours to talk with your faculty or TAs. You can participate in group meetings. We have some students that will set up their own study sessions offline and connect that way. So lots of different ways to connect with your fellow peers and faculty. So ultimately, we hope you see there is no difference between earning your master's degree on campus and via Dennett Viterbi, other than the fact you're doing it from your home or doing lectures from your home or office. So really quickly, I mentioned limited status earlier. Limited status enrollment allows strong candidates to begin coursework before formal admission. Courses can be applied toward a degree program once admitted, but limited status does not guarantee admission. So as a limited student, you can take up to 12 units of a course, and that is how you'd be able to complete those 4 courses that are required for the GRE waiver for the MS in Systems Architecting and Engineering. If you're interested in this option as a Dennett Viterbi student, we've provided a link for more information. This also will enable you to begin taking classes as early as this spring semester. So while the application deadline has passed for spring of 2018, if you are interested in starting this spring in classes, you can do so if qualified through limited status. And lastly, tuition deferment program is another benefit for those of you that may be receiving tuition assistance from your employer. If your company is paying 75 to 100% of your tuition, you're eligible to participate in this program. It allows you to defer the upfront payment of tuition until after the semester is over. The following is a quick overview of the tuition and fees. The tuition, whether you're an on-campus or Dennett Viterbi student, is exactly the same. The current per unit cost for the 2017-2018 academic year is $1,937. You can see the breakdown for our 3-unit courses, which is what a majority of these systems architecting and engineering courses would be. If you do, let's say, pursue one of the graduate certificate programs and take a course in computer science, those tend to be 4-unit courses, so you can get an idea of the difference in cost as you maybe are looking at doing a program plan or things like that. For more information and additional tuition or additional fee information, I encourage you to visit the link provided. Depending on whether you're on campus or online, there are obviously some additional fees that you should be aware of. So as far as getting started, these are some next steps that you can pursue and some links to help you as far as applying or getting started as a limited student, as a Viterbi student, and our contact information. So now is the time I'd like to take advantage of your questions and the fact that we have Professor Madni here to answer them. Some of the questions that we've received is, if we do the graduate certificate in systems architecting and engineering and then decide to do the master's program, will we get credit towards the master's degree if we complete the graduate certificate first?
For the courses that are common to both, yes.
Okay, great. The question here, are the graduate certificate programs available, are the certificate programs eligible for the tuition deferment program? Yes, they are. So if you are pursuing the tuition deferment program, pursuing a graduate certificate program via Viterbi, and you'd like to take place in the tuition deferment program, that is definitely something that is available to you. I believe we have some other questions here. I'm just going to kind of scroll through them. My window is so small for some reason. Oh. There we go.
Cyber students.
Okay, so one of our questions is, if you're, let's say, pursuing a degree program outside of systems architecting, but maybe you want to take some elective courses in systems, is that something that you see happening within your classes and within the degree programs?
So if the parent program, the cyber program that you're taking, has provision for electives outside that, then most definitely you can take that. We have no objection to you taking the courses. You want to make sure that if you're doing a cyber certificate degree, then you want to be able to make sure that they allow you to take an elective outside of your program. But in our, with respect to us, we have no objection. We welcome you.
Great. Another question here is, great question that I'd love you to answer, Professor Madni. Can you please clarify the difference between systems architecting versus systems engineering?
Sure. In fact, I have a whole book that I've written on the subject, but I'll give you the short and narrow. I think you'll understand this well. From the point of view of system life cycle, systems architecting is in the very front end of systems engineering life cycle. The system engineering life cycle starts from all the way from requirements all the way to the retirement of the system. Systems architecting comes to the front end. In terms of methods and thinking, they're quite different. System engineering follows a decomposition process. Typically, it's a reductionist approach that's usually taken, a hierarchical decomposition of requirements and things of that nature, whereas systems architecting is a synthetic or integrative process that puts how you put things together. So one requires vertical thinking, the other requires lateral thinking. When you put the two together, then I believe that you're a complete system architect and engineer. If you can only do the reductionist approach, then you don't have the ability to borrow methods and techniques from other disciplines like biology or sociology or business, because that will allow you to find some parallels and things that you can harness from other disciplines. And so lateral thinking allows you to do that. The vertical thinking says basically how do you solve problems. And then the final point is system architecting concentrates more on how you formulate or frame the problem, and system engineering focuses more on how you try to solve that problem. So the two go hand in hand, and the two together are mutually synergistic, and they should be studied in parallel, and they should be exploited together.
Great. One question here I can quickly respond to is, what is the last day that someone can register as a limited student for spring of 2018? If you are interested in pursuing limited status, we encourage you to complete the profile as soon as you're able to, because that provides you with enough time to register for classes and get set up within the system. With that said, there is no formal deadline for limited status enrollment, so you can do so up until the very start of classes. But again, I definitely encourage you to do so well before that time, because it does Otherwise, you might miss a few days of lecture or things like that along the way. Here. Just going through some of your questions here. So a question here is about how strict is the undergraduate GPA requirement? So just to clarify, there is no requirement for an undergraduate GPA. We generally recommend around a 3.0.
Yeah.
But Professor Madni, for this program specifically, when looking at a prospective student, let's say a student is coming in with an undergraduate GPA below that 3.0, what are other aspects of the application that you're looking for?
So we don't just focus strictly on the GPA. We look at what courses you have taken. I mean, I can have a situation where I have a student with a 3.3 and he's taken some very easy courses. Or I can have a student who has a GPA of 2.85 but has taken some very tough courses. Well, that would weigh in, and that would more than offset the other things. So GPA is not a strict requirement. It's primarily a guideline. But of course, if it's not 3.0, then each of those cases would have to be addressed on a case-by-case basis.
Great. Thank you. Again, please do send over any remaining questions that you have. I'm just going through the last few questions that are here, but I do want to make sure we address anything else that might be that you may want to ask. So please do continue to send them over to the Q&A box. Let's see here. We did answer that question here. Oh, one question here. How do we apply for the GRE waiver? And just to clarify, that's not something you actually need to apply for. You would, once you submit your application, if you basically, as long as you meet one of those waiver requirements, the admissions team will flag you as someone that can waive the GRE. But you can always email us at den@viterbi.usc.edu for more information on that process. We got time. Okay, one question I know that we receive often, Professor Madni, is what are some of the projects that your students work on within maybe some of the core systems classes? Because I do know there's a lot of project elements within the program.
So the thing that we do in our courses is we are sensitive to the discipline or the domain that you come from. If you come from, say, a medical devices company, then we let you choose a project or a term paper for writing that fits within that enclave so that you can, have a contribution in that field. If you come from aerospace, then you would choose appropriately, and you have a contribution in that field. So as long as the principles and techniques that you use are common, then the domain can be selected by you based on what would benefit you most in your career and in your jobs.
Great. Professor, I know one of the requirements for the master's degree program is, or recommended aspects is 3 years of professional experience. If someone is coming in without that, maybe they're in their undergraduate program right now and really just want to go right into the master's program, could you maybe talk to what you would say to that student coming in that scenario?
Yeah. So if you're coming in directly cold without any industry experience, then you have a bit of a learning curve. But it has been my experience that people who dedicate themselves to the master's program and are willing to do the homeworks, read the material, read the assignments, they can catch up very, very quickly and be on par with the rest of the class. So, but it's a little heavy lifting to be done initially because you have that small period of indoctrination in the first couple of weeks. And I am sensitive to that, and the instructors that teach in my program are sensitive to that. And they will help you with that reading material to essentially help you bridge that gap quite quickly. And people have done that successfully, and they've done that well, and they have competed on an even keel. It's really up to the student more so than the fact that they came with or without experience.
Great. One question we just received is, how much reading would you say is needed for one class on a weekly basis?
It really varies from class to class. Some classes are more computational, others are more qualitative. Some classes have weekly homeworks. Some classes have no homeworks but just a midterm and a final term paper. So it really varies from the class. It goes there, and it really is a function of how best to serve the needs of the students. So when you have a weekly homework, it's to make sure that you can build on the material you learned in the previous week and such, not to essentially overpower you with unnecessary homework. That's not our intent. But on the other hand, there are certain courses that are computational, and so you really need a midterm exam to test you on the quantitative things, on the concepts, and then we test you on whether you grasp the whole thing in a 8 to 10-page final paper written like a journal or a peer-reviewed conference style, that if you did well, you could in fact get it published in one of the major conferences.
Great. Another question I'm so sorry. For the model-based development course, will we be going over concepts and techniques, or is it more along the lines of learning how to program and develop models with model-based software?
It's actually both. You get to, a percentage of the time is spent on getting you down, understood with respect to the concept, so that you get a good grounding in that. And then the rest of the time, you have a student license to work with a model-based system engineering tool where you get a chance to essentially develop models, review them, present in the class, have them critiqued, revise them, and go out there knowing how to do model-based system engineering with a particular tool that may, well be used in your own organization.
Great. One question here is, I can answer part of this, and then Professor Madni, I'd love you to kind of expand on some of your specific experience with it. But if you were enrolled as an online, the question is, if you were enrolled as an online student, do you have the ability to still take advantage of the benefits, such as in-person classes, office hours, et cetera, as students on campus? So it's a great question that we do often receive from prospective DEN students. If you happen to live in the LA area or find that you travel to Los Angeles often, we definitely encourage you to come to campus. Campus is open to you. Generally, if you want to sit in on a lecture here and there throughout the semester, we generally just say that email the faculty member, make sure there's an available seat in the class, and usually it's not a problem. Definitely coming to office hours is, if you can do it, that's great, and take advantage of that on-campus interaction. And then, research opportunities, that does differ depending on, the program and the faculty that you're working with, and their ability to work with you as a distance student. So with kind of that general discussion.
I think what Megan said is exactly right. We encourage you to, several of our students come in and sit in because they just enjoy the class so much. They like the class participation, and they come in. They don't come in every single week, but they come in and they're welcome whichever week they want to come, of course, subject to availability of a seat. Now, with respect to research, you typically do when you are a PhD student. So most of the PhD students that I have are people that are enrolled in the doctorate program. And for those, I have what's called research assistantships and things like that, and those people are mostly on-campus students. So now you can do research. I have people who work in industry who have a topic that they want to work on and do directed research that would help their companies and things of that nature that would eventually become their topic to pursue for a doctoral degree, in which case they can be off campus, they can be a remote student and still pursue research, and they have to satisfy the directed research requirement, which happens to be at the master's level 590 courses and at the PhD level 790 courses.
Great. Thank you, Professor Madni. Well, I think we made it through all the questions. So I want to just thank everyone for attending today's session. We really appreciate all the wonderful questions that you sent our way, and for taking the time out of your day to learn a little bit more about the Viterbi School of Engineering, and most specifically, Systems Architecting and Engineering here at USC. I personally want to thank Professor Madni for taking the time to speak with us about the programs that we offer here and answering all these great questions. So, Professor Madni, did you want to say?
Yeah, I want to say that we look forward to you folks enrolling in the SA program, and look forward to meeting you in person. And whether you come here or not, I want to wish you all success both in your education and in your career. Have a good day.
Great. Thank you, everyone. Have a wonderful day.